Persian Empire, a civilization that once stretched across 3 continents, from the edges of Greece to the heart of India, a realm of splendor, wisdom, and might, ruled by visionaries who shaped history. But how did it all begin? And what led to its downfall? Today, we take a journey through time to explore the entire history of the Persian Empire. The story of the Persian Empire begins in the rugged lands of what is now modern-day Iran. Before Persia rose to power, the region was inhabited by a collection of nomadic tribes, the Medes and the Persians, among others. These Indo-European peoples migrated to the Iranian plateau around 1000 BCE, settling in a land where survival meant mastering the art of war and diplomacy. Among them, one group would rise above the rest, the Achaemenids. The Achaemenid dynasty laid the groundwork for what would become one of history's greatest empires. Their ability to adapt, their strategic alliances, and their strong leadership set them apart. They were not just warriors, they were visionaries, capable of uniting diverse cultures under a single banner. By the 7th century BCE, the Medes had established dominance over the Iranian plateau, but the Persians, under the leadership of a rising Achaemenid family, were waiting for their moment to seize power. This moment came with the rise of a leader who would forever change history, Cyrus the Great. Persian society at the time was built on strong family ties, clan loyalty, and a deep respect for their leaders. The people worshipped Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of Zoroastrianism, which would later become a defining element of Persian rule. Trade flourished in small settlements, and the Persians excelled in metalwork, textiles, and agriculture. As their power grew, so did their ambition. In the mid-6th century BCE, a man was born who would change history forever, Cyrus II, later known as Cyrus the Great. A military genius, a wise ruler, and a visionary, Cyrus defied all expectations. He led his people in a rebellion against the powerful Medes, and in 550 BCE, he emerged victorious. The Persian Empire had been born. But Cyrus was no ordinary conqueror. Unlike the ruthless rulers of the past, he had a different approach. He didn't just conquer, he united. When he marched into Babylon in 539 BCE, he didn't slaughter the population or destroy their temples. Instead, he freed the oppressed, earning the admiration of the people he ruled. The Cyrus cylinder, an ancient clay artifact, tells us that he granted religious freedom and human rights, ideas that were centuries ahead of their time. His rule stretched from the Indus Valley to the Mediterranean, creating the first true superpower in human history. His governance was based on respect rather than fear, allowing conquered regions to maintain their customs and traditions. This approach fostered loyalty and stability within his vast domain. Even the Greeks, who would later become Persia's great rivals, admired his leadership. Cyrus's empire was vast, but it was also organized, with satraps, governors, appointed to oversee different regions, ensuring efficient rule. He established a postal system, encouraged trade, and connected his vast empire through extensive road networks. His death in 530 BCE left a powerful legacy, but it also paved the way for new challenges. His son, Cambyses II, would inherit the throne, and with it, both the strengths and weaknesses of a growing empire. After Cyrus's death, his son Cambyses II continued his father's conquests. His greatest achievement, the conquest of Egypt in 525 BCE, making Persia the ruler of 2 of the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. However, Cambyses was known for his temper and erratic rule, and after his mysterious death, Persia faced a crisis. Disorder followed, until the throne was claimed by a new leader who would take Persia to its greatest heights. Darius I, also known as Darius the Great. Darius was a master administrator and military leader. He not only crushed rebellions, but also took the empire to new heights. He built the Royal Road, a vast network of highways connecting the empire, allowing for rapid communication and trade. He introduced a unified currency, the Golden Daric, and implemented a fair taxation system, making Persia the economic powerhouse of the ancient world. Under Darius, Persepolis was built, an awe-inspiring city of palaces, reliefs, and grandeur, a symbol of Persian might. His empire was not just about military strength, it was about innovation, governance, and prosperity. Darius also expanded Persian influence into India and Europe, further solidifying Persia's dominance as the greatest empire of its time. Beyond administration, Persian culture flourished under Darius. Artists created intricate sculptures and reliefs, literature thrived, and Zoroastrianism became the spiritual backbone of Persian society. The empire was diverse, hosting an array of languages, customs, and traditions. Yet, under Persian rule, they coexisted in relative harmony. Darius's military campaigns were ambitious. He sought to expand into the West, which would set the stage for a historic confrontation with a rising power, the Greeks. The early 5th century BCE saw one of history's most famous conflicts, the Greco-Persian Wars. Following the death of Darius I, his son Xerxes I inherited the throne in 486 BCE. Determined to fulfill his father's unfinished ambition of conquering Greece, Xerxes assembled what is considered one of the largest armies of the ancient world. Historians estimate that his forces ranged between 100,000 to 300,000 troops, supported by a formidable navy. In 480 BCE, Xerxes led his army across the Hellespont on an engineering marvel, a floating bridge constructed of hundreds of ships bound together. His invasion force swept through Greece, overwhelming cities and crushing resistance along the way. However, the Greek city-states, despite their internal rivalries, united against the Persian threat. The legendary Battle of Thermopylae, where King Leonidas and 300 Spartans made their heroic last stand, temporarily stalled the Persian advance. Despite their defeat, the Greeks used this time to prepare for a decisive naval engagement. The Battle of Salamis soon followed. In one of the most significant naval battles in history, the smaller and more maneuverable Greek ships devastated the Persian fleet, dealing Xerxes a crippling blow. This loss forced him to retreat, leaving his general Mardonius to continue the fight. A year later, the decisive Battle of Plataea in 479 BCE ended Persian hopes of conquering Greece. Despite their failure, the Persian Empire remained strong. While Xerxes was forced to retreat, the empire continued to thrive for another century, expanding in other regions and solidifying its dominance across Asia. While military campaigns shaped its history, Persia's greatest strength lay in its ability to govern and manage a vast, multicultural empire. From the heart of Persepolis to the farthest provinces in Egypt and India, daily life in the Persian Empire was shaped by a blend of traditions, administrative efficiency, and economic prosperity. The Persian economy flourished under the rule of Darius and his successors, supported by a well-organized taxation system. Agriculture was the backbone of society, with crops such as wheat, barley, and dates sustaining the population. Vast irrigation systems, including underground canals, known as qanats, allowed farming in arid regions. Socially, Persian society was structured in a hierarchical system. The king sat at the top, followed by an elite noble class, military commanders, and bureaucrats. Below them were merchants, skilled artisans, and farmers. Slavery existed, but was not as widespread as in other ancient civilizations, as the Persian rulers were known for their tolerance. The empire's infrastructure was another marvel. The royal road, stretching over 2,700 kilometers, 1,700 miles, from Susa to Sardis, allowed for rapid communication and trade. A sophisticated postal system, with relay stations every 25 to 30 kilometers, ensured that messages could travel across the empire in mere weeks, a remarkable feat for the time. Zoroastrianism, the dominant religion of the empire, influenced daily life and governance. The belief in good versus evil, free will, and the importance of truth and justice became a foundation for Persian law and societal values. Temples dedicated to Ahura Mazda stood across the empire, where priests known as magi conducted rituals and ceremonies. Persian fashion was another symbol of their wealth and artistic sophistication. Nobles wore elaborate robes of finely woven wool and silk, while soldiers donned sturdy armor made from leather and metal. Jewelry was commonplace, with gold and gemstones adorning the wealthy elite. Beyond military and governance, the Persians made significant contributions to science, medicine, and philosophy. The Persian Academy of Gondishapur, established centuries later under the Sasanian Empire, had its foundations in Achaemenid knowledge and scholarship. Persian engineers were masters of irrigation and architecture, designing qanats to transport water efficiently across dry landscapes. Their knowledge of astronomy allowed them to develop highly accurate calendars, essential for agriculture and religious observances. In medicine, Persian doctors documented extensive medical texts, detailing surgical techniques, herbal remedies, and treatments for common ailments. Persian medical practices later influenced Greek and Islamic medicine, playing a key role in the development of modern medical knowledge. Philosophically, Persian thought had a lasting impact on future civilizations. The principles of Zoroastrianism, its emphasis on ethical conduct, truthfulness, and justice, would later influence religious philosophies in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. For nearly 200 years, the Persian Empire stood as the greatest power in the world. But no empire lasts forever. The seeds of Persia's decline were sown from within: corruption, internal strife, and an overextended military presence weakened the empire. By the late 4th century BCE, a new threat emerged from the west: Macedonia, under the leadership of Alexander the Great. In 334 BCE, Alexander launched his legendary campaign against Persia, defeating the Persian forces at the Battle of Granicus. Over the next few years, he systematically dismantled Persian rule, defeating Darius III at Issus in 333 BCE and delivering the final blow at Gaugamela in 331 BCE. Darius III fled, hoping to rally forces, but he was betrayed and murdered by his own men. With his death, the Achaemenid Empire crumbled, and Alexander marched into Persepolis, where he famously burned the great palaces in what many believe was an act of symbolic retribution. Though Alexander adopted many Persian customs and sought to blend Greek and Persian cultures, his untimely death in 323 BCE led to the fragmentation of his empire. Persia fell under the rule of the Seleucid Empire, marking the end of Achaemenid dominance, but not the end of Persian influence. Despite its fall, the Persian Empire's legacy endured. The ideas, governance, and culture established by the Achaemenids continued to shape the world for centuries. The Parthians, 247 BCE, 224 CE, and Sasanian Empire, 224–651 CE, revived Persian traditions and challenged Rome for dominance. Persia's influence stretched beyond its borders. Persian administrative practices influenced the Roman and Byzantine empires, while Persian philosophy and medicine were studied in medieval Europe and the Islamic world. Even today, modern Iran carries echoes of its ancient past, with Persian language, customs, and traditions deeply rooted in its people. Empires rise and fall, but ideas endure. The Persian Empire may be long gone, but its contributions to governance, culture, and philosophy remain woven into the fabric of history. Empires rise and fall, but ideas endure. The Persian Empire may be long gone, but its contributions to governance, culture, and philosophy remain woven into the fabric of history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Persian Empire, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more epic history videos. What empire should we explore next? Let us know in the comments below.